Hi, everybody. It's Dean Z speaking to you from my basement. Today, I have a question I want to address that came to me via email from Zafreen S. So thank you for that, Zafreen. And the question is, how do you approach the optional essay that asks you to address why you want to go to a particular school? This is a great question. So I want to first start by talking about optional essays generally. Schools often give you the choice to write one or more optional essays. If they do, you should take that opportunity for two different reasons. One, at a sort of basic level, lawyers are the kind of people, good lawyers anyway, are the kind of people who run down every opportunity. So you don't just read 3 cases and call it a day. You don't just proofread something once. You try to read all the cases in a given area. You try to proofread something as many times as you possibly can before you have to submit it. So to that end, if a school offers you the opportunity to do something more, you should take it because it is a somewhat of a signal about what kind of a lawyer you will be someday. But more to the point, it's another opportunity for you to tell the school something about yourself. So it's good for you to get more information out there about you, and it's good for the school so they can make a more considered decision. Sometimes the personal statement doesn't necessarily go well, and so to have another essay that shows, yes, you can write well, yes, here's some information about you that is interesting, that can be the thing that helps a school make a positive decision about your application. Whereas if they'd only had the personal statement, they might think, I don't know, and it might not go well for you. All right, so if there are choices that they give you about topics, pick a topic that really speaks to you, that you have something to say about, because I will tell you, it is painful to read an optional essay that someone is really forcing. I did that in my first year in admissions, and the next year I added 6 new topics for people to choose among so that I would never have to do that again. So if a school gives you a choice, pick the one that makes the most sense for you. But one of the most common topics is, why do you want to go to this school? And P.S., some schools do interviews rather than ask for optional essays. And if so, this is often a common part of the interview process too. So it's helpful. Everything I'm going to talk about here is relevant to that too. All right. So you've picked the why do I want to go to school X? Where do you get the information about what that school is all about? One obvious place is the school's recruiting materials. That might be hard copies of stuff that they mail out or that you pick up at school fairs, or it might be the school's website. This is an important source, not just of factual information about the school, but it tells you something about what the school thinks is important about the school. So with apologies to Maya Angelou, who has this great phrase about when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, I would say when a school tells you who it is, pay attention to that. They're signaling what is important to them. Okay. So make sure, though, that you're not lifting actual language from the website or the books, because every year that does happen. I'll read something and think, oh, that's a lovely turn of phrase. And then I'll realize, oh, I wrote that. Okay. Anyway, other sources, conversations with the admissions office, talking to, employees of the admissions office in a counseling kind of interaction, that can give you lots of good information about the school. Finally, conversations with other community members, maybe alumni, maybe current students. To find those people, you could ask a pre-law advisor at your undergrad institution, or often schools will have information about student groups available on their website and how to contact them. So these are all good resources that you might want to exploit if you are having trouble coming up with content for this essay. All right, now, what are good topics to address in the essay? Some are going to just be personal considerations relevant specifically to you. Maybe you have family in the area. Maybe you have been there, you traveled there a lot, and you are really comfortable with it, and you think you could be very happy there for 3 years of law school. Anything like that is completely fair game. Another could be some general connection to the school, some sense of, you know people who went there who really speak well of it or something like that. Or one that we hear a lot in Ann Arbor is people's unholy love of Michigan sports. Sorry for anybody watching this who went to OSU, but I think you know what I'm talking about. People feel the same way about OSU. So, that sense of warmth that comes from that is a perfectly valid thing to have in the essay. Sometimes it might be something about the school's curriculum or the careers that its graduates go on to. But sometimes it's something more amorphous, like your sense of the school's history or the school's community and what it is like to be a student there. I don't know if you can hear this, but admissions cat is in the background causing trouble. I'm sorry for that. Okay. And as you're thinking about topics, again, think about my little Maya Angelou quote. If a school has told you repeatedly this, information about itself, pay attention to that. That's what the school thinks is important. And if it seems important to you too, that is something you might want to focus on in the essay. Okay. Next piece of advice, be specific. I think I spoke about this in the episode 3 about interest areas on your resume, but it is really helpful to be detailed and specific when you say you like something. There's a professor at the law school who teaches writing, Patrick Barry. Check out his stuff. Lots of free stuff on the web by him that is super helpful about writing. But he has this phrase he uses about the power of the particular. It is just so much more compelling to read something specific than something general. So let's say you've chosen to talk about careers in your Y School X essay. Saying your graduates go on to great careers is nice. It's not going to hurt you to say that, but it doesn't really move the ball forward. But suppose you say, I am devoted to practicing equine law, and therefore I also want to get a job in Kentucky, and I see that 10% of your students have gone into the field of equine law, and that 40% of them go to Kentucky every year. That shows that you've done the research and that you have like a really specific interest and sincere interest in this school. So the latter is much more powerful. Okay, same idea with, like, say you want to talk about the atmosphere of a school. Don't say it sounds nice. Say, I read that your environmental law student group takes a winter camping trip to northern Michigan every year, and that is the kind of activity I am here for. That really does happen in Michigan, so if you like that, keep it in mind. But, something specific like that. Or one more example, don't say, I like that you have lots of clinics. Focus on some particular clinic that seems useful to you or interesting to you. And that shows that to the school that, like, you've done some research, you are truly invested in the school, and it is just much more interesting to read. All right, I think that we have covered that topic thoroughly. So now it is time to move on to the grammar portion of our vlog. Specifically, plurals and apostrophes. Now, we all know that when a word is plural and you want to make it possessive, you put the apostrophe after that final S. Complicated rules for things like the word name Zirphos, but we won't get into that. This seems to cause some confusion, though. This rule, even though it's one that most people know, it seems to cause some confusion when you're talking about organizational names. So, for example, in Why Michigan essays, people often will refer to Lawyers Club, which is our on-campus housing. And then they spell it in a variety of ways. So they might say Lawyer apostrophe S Club. They might say Lawyers S apostrophe Club. But the way we spell it is actually Lawyers Club, no apostrophe. Don't ask me why we don't have an apostrophe, but we don't. So, check that out. Another one that comes up is, or I saw this recently when I was reviewing the resume of famous 2L Jonah, where he talked about the ACLU Immigrants' Rights Project. And it was immigrant apostrophe S, as if the ACLU was devoting all its resources to one immigrant, which is, of course, not correct. So if you're using an organizational name in any of your writing, you might want to check it out, make sure that you understand the way they are punctuating that. All right. Good God, admissions cat, could you please stop meowing for another few seconds? Meow. Thank you for watching. That's all I got today. Would love to hear your feedback and suggestions. Please put any questions you have in the comments below or email us at law.jd.admissions@umich.edu and put vlog in the subject line. And if you found this helpful, you might want to check out my admissions blog. There's a link below. Finally, many thanks to Dustin Johnston, who always gives me great feedback and is very patient. Wherever you go, go blue.